So today we are visiting the beautiful city of New Orleans, and we are visiting the pinnacle of museums for military history, and that museum is the National World War II Museum. This place is absolutely massive, and not gonna lie, I am feeling slightly overwhelmed. As you can see, it's pretty busy here, so it's gonna be a little difficult to film, but I'm gonna do my best. And honestly, I'd rather have this museum packed like it is. This shows that they're going out and trying to learn about a conflict that not only was important to American history, but humanity as a whole. Over 65 million people perished during this conflict.
We haven't even made it inside yet, and we're literally seeing sections of the Atlantic Wall. Oh my gosh. So I've never been to Normandy, or anywhere for that matter, World War II related. So seeing the Atlantic Wall fragments is absolutely incredible to me. We're not even in the museum yet. I just can't get over this. Now you can't not see fragments of the Atlantic Wall and not touch it. So yeah. This is so cool. These are only 3 fragments of the entirety of the Atlantic Wall, and these are 3 massive pieces. So you can just imagine how big this wall truly was. It really puts it in perspective. This one here's got some damage to it. Not sure if it's from combat, but pretty cool. This has got to be one of the most detailed statues or memorials that I've ever seen. Looks like it's a flight briefing of some sort, whether it's on an aircraft carrier or an airfield somewhere in Europe or the Pacific, but you can see all the airmen here in various forms of their uniform. And just imagine being in this room and what some of these airmen were thinking before some of their missions. Wow. So we're starting in the S Freedom Pavilion, and man oh man, look at this place. Oh my gosh. Wow. Gosh, I just cannot get over how massive it is in here. Looks like we have an Avenger, a B-17, maybe a Corsair. I saw a P-51. Oh my god, there's a Dauntless. This is incredible. And as you can see, they just don't have airplanes here. They have a few military vehicles here. Obviously, this is a Jeep with a recoilless rifle on top. They did have a Sherman here, but that's not on display as of right now. But this is a 1943 Willy's Jeep. Pretty common during this time. And the Jeep would become pretty iconic, especially for World War II buffs. And here's another look at that recoilless rifle. I believe this is a M20 variation, which is a 75mm gun. And this metal bar here, mounted to the bumper, would prevent steel cables from decapitating soldiers. And here's another variation of the Jeep. This one is the Dr. Jack version, and this one would have litters on it, and over 640,000 of these were produced. As you can see, they fit a litter right on the hood, or they can put a few litters in the back here. Wow. Yeah, so very versatile piece of equipment here. So looked up, and looks like we're underneath, looks like an Avenger torpedo bomber. It's hard to tell from this angle, but as you can see, its payload here, it looks like there's 4 bombs in the belly of what I believe is Avenger, and you can see the white underneath. This would help it blend into the sky a bit. Wow, that's pretty cool. So I want a closer look at some of these fighters and bombers, and to do that, we're going to go way up there and hopefully get a really cool perspective on some of these planes. Gosh, they're so high. So making our way out of the elevator, and we're on the 2nd level now, and here's our warning. And to just remind you that we're not on the 1st floor anymore. And here is your SPD Dauntless. Looks a lot different than it did below it. Now the Dauntless is known for being a dive bomber, and this plane in particular is a veteran of the Guadalcanal campaign, and also operated from Henderson Field, and flew a few missions off the USS Enterprise. And here's a few pictures of the Dauntless in action. You can see there's a carrier-based fighter as well. And I think one of the coolest things about the Dauntless is the radio man and rear gunner that sat right here. Those are 2 30 caliber machine guns. So this is the F4u Corsair, and it entered combat in 1943. It was pretty well known for its speed, toughness, and firepower. And the cool thing about the Corsair, it was a phenomenal fighter, and it was also an attack aircraft that could support ground forces. Oh yeah. So here is the B-17 Heavy Bomber. Oh my god, this thing is massive. And just to remind you how high up we are. Now before we take a closer look at the B-17, I wanted to show you some of these bomber jackets and some of the art. I think these are just so cool. You can kind of see how the different crews took on their own personalities. And this one here, this is the A2 flight jacket that was worn by Staff Sergeant Harry T. Corbin, and he flew 51 combat missions aboard a B-17. Wow. And as promised, here is the B-17 here that was made by the Boeing company. And over 90,000 bombers, fighters, and transport planes were produced by the American Armed Forces. Man, this thing is absolutely massive. So something to note with this plane here, it's called the My Gal Sal. And on June 27th, 1942, due to horrendous weather conditions off the coast of Italy, this B-17 made an emergency landing on a Greenland ice cap. The good news is the entire crew survived the 10-day ordeal, and the plane remained on the ice for more than 50 years before being recovered. So I went back down a level because I wanted to show you the underbelly of the B-17. You can see its armaments here. You have your ball turret there, your twin 50s, and here's a few of the pictures from that rough landing on the Greenland ice cap. Wow. This is really cool. I love these interactive boards. But here we're inside a B-17, and it looks like I'm one of the fuselage gunners here. And you can kind of just look around. Inside you can see your ammunition there. And yeah, this is awesome. Gives you a really good visual into what life was like inside this beautiful aircraft here. So before we wrap up part 1 of the World War II Museum, I hopped over to the main lobby to show you a few more machines of war here. And here is your Raf Spitfire, an amazing plane. And here's the iconic C-47 transport plane. And this was synonymous with the airborne drops on D-Day. You can see the invasion stripes there. And this plane actually dropped paratroopers on the D-Day invasion. And even saw action during the Battle of the Bulge. That is amazing. So just giving you a closer look at this magnificent C-47. And you can see the invasion stripes there. Now those are painted on the underbellies of planes in hopes of preventing friendly fire from the ground. And of course, you cannot have a World War II museum without the iconic Higgins Boat. And the Higgins Boat is a very prominent figure here in New Orleans. More than 20,000 boats were designed and built right here in New Orleans by Higgins Industries. The Higgins Boat was used in all major amphibious landings during World War II, and it's believed that the Higgins Boat itself played a central role in the Allied victory. Something I didn't realize is these are literally plywood. This whole time I thought these were made out of some sort of soft metal, but nope, just wood. Jeez. And here's the vaunted German 88mm dual-purpose gun. Wow, I've never seen one before, so this is a first for me. The 88mm was originally designed as an anti-aircraft weapon, but as the war progressed, its high muzzle velocity made it a very effective anti-tank weapon. Here's some of the variations of the 88, and this thing can almost fire 20 rounds a minute. It had a muzzle velocity of 2,690 feet per second. That is absolutely insane.